welcome back to my channel. My name is Chase if you're joining for the first time. Currently living in Australia as a Canadian girly. Hopefully you're going to be able to hear me over these waves, but it was a beautiful day, so figured we'd be filming on the beach. I have had so many questions about how I got to Australia as a Canadian, how I'm living here, and all of the logistics behind it. Of course, it is beautiful, it is fun, but there's still a lot that goes into moving here. So I figured I would make a video of everything that I did. Obviously, your experience is going to be different if you decide to do it, but this is kind of my way of figuring it out. I've been here for 2 months now, and I'm currently starting my first job tomorrow. So when I first came here, I came to Melbourne, and I came here on a working holiday visa. This is really just a matter of time. I applied online through the Australian government when I was in Canada, and I was approved within 5 minutes. Some people tell me it was 3 months, 6 months. I don't know exactly how all of it works, but it was $650 Canadian, and that allows me to stay in Australia for 1 year. Then I booked my flight, of course, and I flew to Melbourne. When I landed in Melbourne, I booked my first hostel, which was about like 5 nights I think I booked out, and that allowed me to figure out the area, figure out what I wanted to do, and I was able to kind of like do all of my bank account, my phone number, all of like the banking stuff that I needed to do. I recommend flying to a city first because it just makes it that much easier to go to a bank, go to get your phone number done. Yes, you can probably do these in rural areas as well. I just found it very easy because in Melbourne everything is walking distance, or you can hop on a bus, a tram, and get to where you want to go. So the first thing that I did was set up my phone number. You need a phone number in order to get your bank account here. So I went to Optus, which is a phone provider here, and I just asked for a plan that I was able to like put a SIM card in here, and now I have unlimited data and calling around Australia, and I have an Australian phone number. After that was done, before I came to Australia, I applied online through Commonwealth Bank, which is the bank, a main branch here. And so that was really easy because when I applied online, I was able to go in person, and they had all of my stuff ready. My credit card, my number, everything that I needed for my account was already done. So I highly recommend applying ahead of time before coming to Australia because it just makes it that much easier. As well, I didn't have an address when I got here, so they wouldn't have been able to send my credit card to where I was staying because I was going to be at a hostel and I didn't know how long I was going to be there for. So I went into the bank, I gave them my phone number, I did give them the address of where I was staying at the hostel. That can obviously change. You don't need to have a permanent residence right away. And that's when they handed me my bank card. So I haven't used it yet because I've just been using my credit card here because I'm going to start working, so they'll pay directly into my card instead of transferring over, which you can transfer your funds right away and start using your card right away. So that was 2 of the main things, is your bank account and your phone number. Then in order to start working, you need a tax file number. So in order to do that, you can only apply online. I tried to go in person and ask about it, but they said you can only do it online. And so that's the tricky part. You need an address in Australia to send it to. So I used somebody I met here, their address, and they were able to get it like 30 days later. So it usually takes around 15 to 30 days. However, you can start working before that. If your employer knows that you're getting your tax file number within the 30 days, most of the time they'll be able to wait, and you don't have to have it right away to start working if that's one of your concerns. So I did obviously wait. I haven't worked in 2 months, but I got my number within the 30 days, and she just sent me a picture of it. So you need to kind of figure out an address some way, and I'm sure once you kind of get situated, you'll probably find somebody that can help you out. Or if you know that you're going to be staying at the hostel for a long term, you'll probably be able to send it to the hostel as well. So there's ways around it, and I think you can also call them and ask for your number later if you haven't got it in the mail. So there's ways around that, but the tax file number was super easy. I applied online. I don't know exactly, I forget what I needed. Like it could have been like my SIN number for back at home or something. Not 100% sure, but you can look that up ahead of time as well. And I think you can even apply for the tax file number ahead of time if you do have an address of somebody that lives here. So those were the 3 like main things that I wanted to get checked off in Melbourne. I did some traveling around while I was there, but I knew that I wanted to be in the Gold Coast. I love the beach. I love the peacefulness. I didn't want to be in a city. And I'm not really in the Gold Coast. I'm further down in a really small surf town, which I absolutely love. So when I first came, I got a hostel here, and that was a great way to meet people because there was everyone coming, backpackers, travelers, whatever. And so that was kind of my first like community I started to build here, was everyone I met at my hostel. They had barbecues, they had things to do, and it was just like a great time. Highly recommend the hostel. It was YHA, right by the airport. So I had a great time, and then I ended up meeting somebody who needed a dog sitter, and I said, I'm your girl. So I ended up moving into her house and looked after her house and took care of her dogs while she was away. And then she ended up letting me stay, which is absolutely amazing. We get along great, and now I have a place to stay. So that was really lucky. People that I know from the hostel just ended up getting a room to share. There's lots of places that you can rent around Australia. However, a lot of places require a bond. So when you join, it's like your security deposit, and so sometimes they're $1,000, sometimes they're $1,200. So sometimes you need money saved up for that, and then plus your weekly rent. Most of them are weekly, $250 to $300 a week. This is Australian, kind of works out the same to be Canadian. So that's something to think about if you are looking for a place to stay. However, honestly, staying in the hostel is not the end of the world while you get on your feet. You could probably be there 2 weeks a month. I met people there for 3 months, 6 months. They've been there a long time, and they absolutely love it, because staying in a hostel allows you to come and go. If you are planning on traveling, you don't always have to have a place that you're paying for. And some leases are short term, some are long term, so it just depends on what you want to do. So I was very lucky that I found a place to stay. Once I had my place to stay, that is when I started looking for jobs, and I started applying to hotels nearby. There are so many hotel jobs that need cleaning, customer service. In the hotels, like, it is a resort town. Gold Coast is beautiful. There's so many places that you can work through, cafes, restaurants. So I wouldn't worry about finding a job, honestly. I know some people said it's hard to apply, but I just went in and I talked to people and I said, hey, I live down the street, I'm looking for a job. And I had the hotel reach out to me the next day, and I have my first shift tomorrow. So that's how I figured out that. Obviously, it depends on what you want to do for work. There is also the RSA that you have to get here. It's basically your Smart Serve, the equivalent of your Smart Serve here. So if you want to work with alcohol or in a restaurant, you have to get that. And that is also different for every state. So I would look into what state requires you to have the certification. That's kind of all the logistics that I've had to figure out since being here. Obviously, you are gonna experience it on your own terms and what you wanna do. That is just how I did it. I'm happy that I got all of it done in the first week. My phone number, my bank account, and had it all set up. So now that I'm ready to start working, I didn't really have to do much. I had it all there. So I hope this was helpful, and maybe if you are planning a trip out to Australia, feel free to reach out with any more questions that you might want me to answer. I am figuring this out too as well. Honestly, when I came here, I knew nothing. I started asking people, I started making friends, and you will meet people, and you'll make friends, and you will see that everyone is doing the exact same thing as you, and you're not alone in this. There's so many people that travel. I've met people from the UK, I've met people from Belgium, everywhere, honestly, in the world, and they're all experiencing it too for the first time. So don't feel like you're going alone in this. You'll meet friends, you'll make great connections, and you'll also have a really great time. Of course it gets lonely, of course it can be a little scary, but don't let that stop you from this amazing adventure that is waiting for you. So feel free to subscribe if you want to see more videos of me figuring out Australia, and we'll see where my life takes me with this new job.